Hi, it's Tish here. Thank you so much for watching this video series on negative self-talk and how you can shift over to positive self-talk. And we're also going to talk about the ego, negative aspects, the positive aspects. And through this video series, I am going to show you how you can begin to shift from negative to positive self-talk, as well as recognizing when you're operating from different parts of ego. And right there pretty much says it all, right? The negative aspect will correlate to the negative self-talk. The positive aspects will correlate to the positive self-talk. So I feel like I can't do one without the other as far as the self-talk and the ego. And ego, what is ego? Ego is part of our personality. Ego begins to develop as we are young children. We are products of our environment, right? And we are absorbing the energy from our parents, from our siblings, whomever happens to live in the home. We're also absorbing energy when we go off to school. And so the personality forms, the ego begins to form. And as we get into the energy of the ego, so many of us see this as though the ego is trying to protect us from something. And sometimes that may just be true. But really, whenever we are feeling down, we're in low-level energy, and we're saying things like, I'm not good enough, I'm not lovable, nobody will ever love me. Why bother to go out and go for that particular job? Because I know I'm not qualified, or even if I am, I'm probably not going to get it anyway. So it's like this self-defeatist attitude. And it stinks, right? I mean, it hurts to be in that place. When one feels as though they aren't lovable, nobody should ever have to feel that way. Here's the thing. When you were born into this world, you were not brought to this world with the energy of you are unlovable, that you're not good enough. None of that was with you when you came into this earth. Those are things that were heaped upon you by other people who felt that way or those ways about themselves. And what we do as humans is we tend to project outward what it is that we're feeling inward. And if internally I am feeling that I don't deserve, then maybe I don't want you to feel that you're deserving either. What is it that is so special about you that you deserve if I don't deserve? So we do this form of projecting, and most of the time, the overwhelming majority of the time, it's because we're not consciously aware that we're doing it. And it doesn't feel good to be in those energies. So in this video series, you can begin to shift out of that energy, to learn how to get that negative dialogue out of your mind, or at least to greatly reduce it. It's said that we have some 60,000 thoughts a day that run through the mind on average. If we think about that, there's a certain percentage of those that elicit emotions within us. So if we're going about our day, we've got all these different thoughts, and then one that says, I'm just not lovable. I mean, that's heavy. I'm not even going to bother to get out of this job. I don't even, because who's going to hire me? I may as well stay here. That's heavy energy. You can shift from it. So first of all, key number one here is those words aren't yours. Somebody gave them to you. Somebody made you feel as if you are unloving, undeserving, not good enough, etc. They're not yours. You don't have to take them on. And in fact, number two, offload them. Because when we become consciously aware, it's not my stuff. All right, what are you going to do? So one of the things that you can do is listen closely. So you're going through the day, if you catch yourself with a negative statement in your mind, stop and listen. Who gave that to me? Now, for some of you, you may be like, I know exactly who gave it to me. But for others, it may not be so easy. But if you stop and you think about it and you listen, and if it still isn't clear, ask yourself, is this masculine or a feminine voice? And as you are listening in, this is where you may be able to decipher who originally gave you those words. And really, in the grand scheme, does it matter? No. But sometimes by knowing it, then we can put that person into perspective. If we had a parent who had a difficult and dysfunctional family that became an adult and had children and then projected their dysfunction upon us, it can be helpful to bestow grace or compassion upon the parent to whatever level one is ready to do. And I say this because I know for myself, that really helped to shift things. Realizing that it wasn't a malicious act, that this was just a repeated behavior. Here's the other thing. We get to break cycles, right? So if number one is these words weren't yours to begin with, number two, you get to offload them. Number three, you get to break a cycle. You get to stop projecting, go inward and heal. Because every unhealthy projection, telling somebody by words or by action that they are worthy, that, you're not worthy of my love, you're not worthy of a good life, you don't deserve that. That's us projecting. So know that when you do that, that is a nice little nudge from your soul saying, hey, there's something inside for us to look at now. All right, so if we're raised in a dysfunctional home, or maybe it's when we get into adulthood and the people we find ourselves surrounded by are unhealthy. In some of those words, the energy, even as adults, can penetrate. We absorb them, we take them in. So here's what I'm going to ask for you to do, is to bring conscious awareness of what that energy is like for you and where you're storing it. What I mean by this is I'm going to ask for you to stop for a moment and think about it. I'm asking you to please do not attach to it, but just be an observer. What is a negative statement that you hear go around in your mind? And it may be one of the ones I mentioned. I'm not good enough, I'm not deserving, I'm unlovable, things never work out for me anyway, whatever it happens to be. And I'll be quiet for a moment. And if you have pen and paper, I suggest writing it down. And you're watching a video, so you can pause, go get paper and pen or your journal, begin a new journal if you'd like, and begin the process. So write down, what is this negative statement that you're saying to yourself? Is it really true? And here's one of the ways that you can test that. Think about yourself upon birth. Regardless if you were born to a woman or a family that wanted you or not, simply imagine looking into the nursery, looking into the crib in which your beautiful infant self, where you can see your infant self in this crib. Does he or she deserve to be loved? Does that beautiful infant deserve to someday grow up to feel good? And I'm going to pause here for a moment. Those who know me know that the statement, I am good enough, drives me crazy. And here's why. I am good enough is just like I just met the bar. Enough. If you catch yourself using the word, that saying, I am good enough, I'm going to ask for you to imagine putting a big red X over enough and put the period at the end of good. I am good. I am good. I am good. Okay. When you look at your infant self in the crib, does that infant deserve to grow up to feel good? to have whatever life that they choose, to find peace within themselves and their environment? Of course that infant does. Okay, so whatever your negative statement was that you wrote down, this is where, again, I'm challenging you. Is it true? And if you can imagine your infant self in the crib, you deserved. Be honest with yourself. You deserve it. And if you're saying no, because you know what, I made a lot of mistakes in my life, so no, I really don't think I deserve a good life. You know what? I'm going to challenge you on that too. And think about other people in your life. I'm here to say, and I know you already know this, all of us make mistakes. We all do something so stupid, embarrassing. Oh my gosh, the things I wish I could do over to take back, I can't. So we find a way to accept it, to make peace with it, to forgive ourselves, to show us the grace that we would probably show to one of our friends. That if they did something similar, we would forgive them. We wouldn't judge them. Do that for ourselves. So you have your negative self-statement. Is it true? And if it's not, now you just have the reality in front of you. No, if I was born into this earth deserving of all things, no more, no less than everybody else who walks this earth, then you know what? Right here today, I still deserve. Because let me tell you, people who have made much bigger mistakes than you, deeper cuts to others than you have made to others, there are plenty of them having a good life. And who are we to say they don't deserve that? They claimed it. So the question is, are you going to claim it? This also brings me over to constructive criticism. And I'm one, pretty much my whole adult life, I've said I'm open to constructive criticism. And it has recently dawned on me, constructive criticism is still criticism. Criticism isn't kind, it isn't loving, it isn't nurturing, it isn't compassion. So if you find yourself saying, this is constructive criticism, I'm going to ask for you, so this term came to mind. Constructive observer. Constructive observer. And what I mean by this is, okay, so maybe you had an engagement with a coworker, and later you're thinking about it and you're, okay, what can I do to be better, or whatever this may be. When we're beating ourselves up and saying, what is wrong with you that you spoke to our coworker this way? Or how come we didn't say something else or something a little bit differently? If the energy by which we are constructively criticizing feels heavy and not affirming, then I'm going to ask for you to stop and ask yourself if you're criticizing yourself. I'm so stupid, I can't believe I did that again, what's wrong with me? Stop it. Be the observer. An observer isn't attached. An observer is just that. They're observing, they're watching. So pull yourself out, be the observer. And then as you are thinking about what your actions were earlier, from an observation perspective, okay, what could I have done differently? How could I have handled this situation better? You get to choose, but again, to separate yourself, to be the observer instead of going into criticism. Criticism is heavy. If we were to take the word should, and we add ERS, we get shoulders. So if, I should have done this, I should have done that, or I shouldn't have, whatever it is, we are compounding the energy on our own being. So do it or don't, right? Or I should have said this earlier today. I shouldn't have said this earlier. You did or you didn't, and then what are you going to do? So what are you going to do about it? How are you going to make things better tomorrow? Maybe it was a situation that you wish you would have spoken up. Then speak up tomorrow. Or if the time has passed, then it's a learning lesson, so that the next time a similar situation comes up, you're able to muster that internal strength to be able to speak your truth in a loving, diplomatic way. Because here's the thing. For those of you that are familiar with the chakra system, we go into the solar plexus chakra, the place of our personal power. And if it's about something where we didn't speak up, we can tap into the energy of our internal power And yet when it rises up, that power rises up within us, has to pass through the heart chakra. But if we know that we want to speak our mind in a diplomatic fashion to make sure that we're safe at work or whatever it is, then when we tap into the solar plexus energy that, you know what, I have every right to be seen and heard at my job. So as you are tapping into it, then rise up into the heart center. What is the best way? What is the most loving way, diplomatic way, compassionate way in which I could speak this? And you may start hearing a dialogue about what you could say to them. So you're tapping into your personal power, right? And then it rises up through this place of love so that now it can come out of your throat, out of your mouth in a more loving, strong, loving, compassionate, diplomatic way to get your point across. Okay. And that's really one of the ways, a quick little way in which you can shift from the negative to the positive. All right, so here's the other thing. You have your negative statement that goes through your mind. Now, I'm going to ask for you to think about that statement. State it internally, mentally. And as you are repeating the statement in your mind, I'm going to ask for you to pay attention to your physical body. Where are you feeling the energy of this negative statement in your body? I'm going to ask for you to scan from head to toes. Make sure you're paying attention to your face, your shoulders, arms, hands, fingers, your toes. And even if you feel it one or two places, continue to scan your entire body. When you have this statement, this negative statement in mind, where is it affecting your physical body? And you're going to write these places down in your journal as well. And what you just did here is you just brought conscious awareness to when this thought goes through your mind, this is how your body reacts to it. And maybe some of you didn't feel anything in the body, but I would bet most of you felt something somewhere. It may have been discomfort in the heart center. You may have found that your jaw was clenched, or you felt maybe tears behind your eyes, or your fists were clenched. Sometimes it's subtle, sometimes it's very heavy. It may even feel like a punch to the gut kind of energy. Again, what you are doing is bringing conscious awareness to how this negative dialogue is affecting your physical body. So anytime that thought is going through your mind, you are opening yourself up to that kind of energy. And you may find, for some of you, you may even find that, wow, when I'm saying this, I've been feeling it in my stomach. And you know what? I've been having stomach issues lately. Maybe there's a correlation. So again, this exercise is to get you to come to the conscious awareness of where the internal dialogue is affecting you. You don't have to go through this as often as you may be doing, even without even realizing it. Because then if you were to pull up the next negative statement you say to yourself, and then the next one, it's compounded. So the more that we can begin to alleviate, release, get rid of, transmute the energy of the negative self-dialogue, the better we're going to feel. The better you are going to feel. It feels lighter, easier, more peaceful. So I'm going to end this video here, but on the next video, I'm going to walk you through of how you can begin to release some of that energy. Thank you. See you soon. Get rid of those old beliefs holding you back. Check the description box below for a free PDF on how to break free of limiting beliefs.